Hello and welcome back to the LFC Transfer Room YouTube channel, and we're here with another transfer analysis. Now, we've seen a video go out on this already today from a stream clip, but we've got some expert analysis here today with Keiran Fleming talking about Calvin Ramsay. Now, Keiran works up in Aberdeen, so has a real good knowledge. But first of all, mate, how are you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It's not as sunny here as it was, but apart from that, all good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have him on. So if you haven't already, make sure to follow him over on Twitter and get all the news regarding the SPFL in Aberdeen. But first of all, mate, Calvin Ramsay, 18 years old, linked with Liverpool. For those who've never seen Calvin Ramsay set foot on a football pitch, how would you describe him?
I think he's a very similar player to TRENT ALEXANDER-ARNOLD in terms of, obviously he's not reached his heights yet, reached his level, but he's fantastic going forward. More recently, he's looking more comfortable using his left foot as well, which is quite interesting considering he is a right back. He's got a lethal cross on him as well. He could take on a few players. In terms of frailties, in terms of weaknesses, much like, well, in my opinion, with TRENT ALEXANDER-ARNOLD and Calvin Ramsay, sometimes there's a bit of questions surrounding their defensive capabilities. But apart from that, if you want a fullback who delivers going forward, who's willing to chip in with an assist or two, then Calvin Ramsay's your man.
Absolutely. It's been a struggle of a season for Aberdeen this time out, mate. But Ramsay's been sort of a shining star. How much do you think it's the influence has been from him this season overall? Because despite the fact that he's 18 years old, he's gone and picked up the Young Player of the Year.
Yeah, so he's won the league's, well, the Scottish Football Writers Young Player of the Year. He didn't quite win the Scottish Football Young Player of the Year. It's a strange award. I never understand the differences. But no, he's for a teenager, he's fantastic creatively. So he scored once. He scored his first goal against Dundee, which is an absolute belter of a goal. He chopped in on his left foot and thundered it into the net. It was class. And he's assisted 9. And so he's roughly contributing to a goal once every 3 games or so, which for a fullback in a team that are struggling, who were in a relegation battle up until last week, that's really impressive. He's also, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I did see a fact that he was the most creative teenage defender in the world, which, I mean, it's not bad. You've got a talent there when, people are speaking about him like that. And Liverpool are after him, Leeds are after him, Bologna are after him. And I expect, a lot more clubs are going to be after him in the summer.
Yeah, you mentioned Bologna. It's a place where, well, the path's already been tread with Aaron Hickey. Do you think, that might potentially play a role in Ramsay's decision? And what do you think his rationale with his suitors may be?
Well, it's a difficult one because with Liverpool, obviously the idea is Ramsay's going to come in, he's not going to start, and his game time is going to significantly reduce at Liverpool, but he will be training with the best players in the world under arguably the best coach in the world. Whereas Bologna, you look at Aaron Hickey now, he's being linked with Napoli, AC Milan and Arsenal more recently for a fee of about 18.5 million. So he might be thinking, well, I've seen what Aaron Hickey's done. He's got a Scotland cap. He's now being linked with some of the biggest clubs in Europe. Maybe if I go there, get some game time in a top league and get some eyes on me, then who knows, maybe I could go to Liverpool, but when I arrive at Liverpool, I'll be there as a starter rather than a youngster trying to break his way into the first team. Also, to be fair, if he goes to Liverpool, I wouldn't be surprised if he got a loan move, to an English Championship side or even back to Aberdeen, just for another season. But honestly, it's really up to him. He's got the fantastic thing with Calvin Ramsay is he's got the choice now, doesn't he? It's not just one club after him. He's got a variety of clubs that are going to be after him.
Yeah, he's certainly a very impressive young man. With another one who potentially might be leaving Liverpool is Nico Williams, who's going to be going most likely up to Fulham on a permanent deal. Do you think that might play into Calvin Ramsay's thinking that he may have an avenue into sort of cup competitions and maybe the odd Premier League game when TRENT ALEXANDER-ARNOLD isn't playing?
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point. With Nico Williams going away, that opens that spot doesn't it? For Calvin Ramsay to move in, and especially at the young age he is, 18. He's got plenty of time on his hands. It's no doubt in my mind that he will play a Premier League game, an English Premier League game, sooner rather than later, if he does go to either Leeds or Liverpool, because he is that good a player.
Certainly is. He's certainly very impressive. I mean, talking on a whole wider sort of breadth of Scotland, it seems like the only position that Scotland that have got an abundance of talent in is fullbacks, with Calvin Ramsay being another one. I mean, do you see his route into the national team being straightforward, or do you think that he'll need another few years to sort of bed himself in football?
Well, being a football fan, you probably know as well, nothing's ever straightforward. So to me, I'm surprised he hasn't had a call up yet, even just to be in around the squad, at such a young age, considering the talent he is and the amount of games he plays. And, everyone's watching him, everyone thinks he's a fantastic player. In the next year, in my opinion, he should have a Scotland cap. He is that good. And although we do produce a lot of brilliant fullbacks, right back has always been a problem for us in terms of people who are getting game time. So most recently, Nathan Patterson is probably our best right back, and he's not getting a game at Everton. Don't know why, because every time he plays for Scotland, he is by far one of our best players. And on left back, obviously, we've got Kieran Tierney, we've got Andy Robertson, Aaron Hickey. So that spot's covered. But yeah, Calvin Ramsay should be thinking about the national team in the next year. Doesn't matter what team he picks to move to this summer, his eyes should be set on, being part of that squad.
Wow, there's a World Cup coming up as well, which Scotland may potentially be part of. Maybe a 1-2 soon for Calvin Ramsay, but who knows? Talking of sort of price tags, I believe you told me in the first edition we are re-recording this because of horrible connection issues. There was a £4.8 million bid rejected in January from Aberdeen. So do you expect the fee to be more than that? And if so, how much more?
Well, yeah, in the last call we did, I said I do expect it to be more, but the rumoured transfer fee I'm seeing kick about is less, which is quite surprising considering, 4.8 million, nearly 5 million's a massive amount of money for Aberdeen for a player. And that was from Bologna, and that was rejected. If a lower bid does come in, if there's a lot of, incentives added on to that, if there's a wee bit of, if we take Calvin Ramsay, we'll loan you a couple of players just to, tide the transition. If there's like a future percentage of a transfer fee that we may get, or Aberdeen may get from the sale of Calvin Ramsay from Liverpool to another club in the future, then I'm sure that would play a massive role as well, because even if Calvin Ramsay goes to Liverpool and just becomes a squad player and sold later down the line, that is going to be more than what Liverpool buy him for from Aberdeen. And I imagine that's going to play a massive role.
Yeah. Finally, I'm going to ask you, where do you actually think he will end up? Because a lot of things have been linking him to Liverpool, and as you mentioned, a lot of people linking him to Leeds and Bologna. But where do you think he'll end up, and where do you think is best for Calvin Ramsay?
You put me on the spot.
I'm putting you right on the spot there, mate. Yeah. No pressure.
Because right now there's only like 3 teams linked with him, but I would not be surprised if the summer transfer window opened and all of a sudden you see everyone coming out and having a look at him. So because he's already been scouted by Man United, he's already been scouted by Arsenal, he's been scouted by top clubs across Europe. Out of the current 3 teams that are heavily linked with him, there's benefits to all the moves. As I said, Liverpool, best players in the world, best coach in the world. Leeds United, well, if they stay up, would be a good place for him to break into the Premiership. If they go down, I expect him to step into that squad pretty quickly as a right back. Bologna, for me, is the most interesting one because that's already a try and test path with Aaron Hickey. And I think Bologna, they've been linked with another young fullback here called Josh Doig from Hibs. So I think they've spotted that Scotland's a good place for young talents, especially young fullbacks. And I think they keep coming back to the well just to see who's there. And they've obviously got a track record now of nurturing that talent in a foreign country, and that would be very interesting to see how he adapts to Serie A. But yeah, it's really all up in the air, which is the most exciting thing, because it's not really happened in Aberdeen with a young talent of this caliber, you know, because this isn't just, we all clubs have young kids coming through, but there are very few young kids who are coming through that everyone goes, this kid, he's special, he's going to be something. Which yeah, I'm looking forward to what he does in the future. Who knows? It's all up to him there.
Absolutely, and you've obviously seen him right at the start, and you can always profess to say that whatever he goes on to go and do. But yeah, we'll end it there. Thank you so much to Keiran for joining us for Aberdeen Live. Where else can people find you, mate?
So if you just follow me on Twitter, it's at K_Fleming2, and make sure to drop Aberdeen Live a follow as well if you want to keep up with Calvin Ramsay and everything that's happening with Calvin Ramsay outside of the Liverpool sphere as well, because no doubt there's a whole lot more to come in that story, no matter where he goes.
Exactly that, and it's definitely the place to get some local informed knowledge as well from him. But yeah, I've been Kris. This has been the LFC Transfer Room. We'll catch you in another video very, very soon. Bye-bye.